Why does Saturn have rings? What are the different types of clouds? How does an octopus swim? Why does a tiger have stripes? How do flowers grow?
Tell me why. The Video Encyclopedia is a reference work that's designed to show the answers to questions that young people ask. All materials used in this work are based upon the best-selling book series by Arkady Leokum.
What is a disease?
A person affected with sickness is said to have a disease. Diseases come in many forms and with varied levels of severity. Each disease affects the body in different ways.
Why do we get a fever?
The body has an average temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit when it is healthy. A disease may make this temperature rise, and we call it a fever. A fever is a sign that your body is sick. A fever helps us fight off sickness. It makes the organs in the body work faster. The body produces more hormones, enzymes, and blood cells. Our blood cells destroy harmful germs better in this state. Our blood circulates faster, we breathe faster, and get rid of poisons in our system. If you have a fever for a long time, it can destroy protein in the body, and protein is necessary for life. It's best to always treat a fever the way your doctor tells you to.
What are headaches?
A headache can be a symptom of some illness somewhere in the body or in the nervous system. Some people get a headache when they are hungry. What is really happening is the arteries in the skull are being dilated or enlarged, and this produces a headache known as a vascular headache. Someone who has twisted his head or had a jolt may have hurt the pain-sensitive structures around the brain, and pain results. Undergoing emotional tension can cause muscles to contract or tighten over the back, lower part of the head, and neck, and this may cause a headache.
Can a virus be seen?
A lot is still unknown about viruses. Some scientists think they are related to bacteria, and others think they are similar to genes. Viruses can only grow and reproduce inside living tissue. There are special microscopes that enable tiny viruses to become visible. Scientists have learned quite a bit about viruses because of the electron microscope. This tool uses beams of electrons instead of rays of light. The electrons pass through the specimen being observed and strike a photographic plate on which a picture is obtained. Objects can be magnified many thousands of times this way.
What is a cold?
Doctors believe the common cold is caused by viruses that are always present in the throat. It just doesn't attack your body until your resistance is lowered. A cold takes from 1 to 3 days to develop. The first stage is dry. Your nose feels dry and swollen. Your throat may have a tickle and your eyes may water a bit. In the second stage, you have a runny nose. Then later, you may have a fever and cough.
What is chickenpox?
Pox means a disease with eruptions, and it is also called varicella. Scientists haven't found the specific organism that causes chickenpox, but agree it is a virus. It is contagious. It is passed on from one person to another by direct contact. The first symptom is a rash or skin eruptions. First, they are reddened spots about the size of a pinhead. Then they enlarge and form blisters called vesicles, which are in the center of each spot. There is a clear fluid in the blister that turns yellow, and then a crust or a scab forms. Most of these eruptions appear on the back and chest, and the entire body can be covered. People with chickenpox should stay in bed and rest, and be careful not to scratch, even if the blisters itch. Scratching can cause infections and scars. The good news is that once you have had chickenpox, you'll never get them again.
What causes mumps?
Mumps is a contagious disease in which the salivary glands swell up. The parotid glands below and in front of the ears are the main ones affected. Mumps is caused when these glands are invaded by a virus, and it is spread almost entirely by direct contact with a person who is infected. Mumps make the ears and jaws swell, first on one side and then the other. Body temperatures may also rise suddenly, causing fevers up to 104 and 105 degrees. There may also be headaches and vomiting. Mumps is primarily a disease of children and young adults. After one complete attack, you become immune to the disease. This means you cannot get it again. Today, there is a mump vaccine available from your doctor. By being inoculated with this vaccine, one may never come down with the mumps.
What is measles?
Measles is caused by a virus too small to be seen with an ordinary microscope. It is contagious and spreads very easily. About 10 to 12 days after contact with the virus, red appears in the throat and mouth. The person's temperature rises, the nose begins to run, and a cough develops. Then a red rash breaks out all over the body. Finally, you get a fever and the eyes become sensitive to light. Patients are usually told to get plenty of rest in a darkened room to protect their eyes. Science has made headway with this disease. With proper vaccination, you can be 95% assured that you will not get the measles.
What is AIDS?
AIDS is an illness that attacks the body's ability to protect itself against disease. The word AIDS is created from the first letter of the official name of the illness, Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. Scientists believe this disease is caused by a rare virus known as HIV, or Human Immune Deficiency Virus. People who have AIDS can be a carrier and show no signs of the disease at all. They can also have the disease and be very sick with the loss of body weight, fever, and diarrhea, plus other developing illnesses including cancer because of the body's inability to protect itself. We do know that there are 3 known routes of transmission: blood, sexual contact, and perinatally. The virus can be transmitted in blood during a transfusion by unsterilized needles previously used by a person with AIDS, or through exposure of blood through a person's opening in the skin. Another contact method is through mucous membranes. The second route is sexual contact between people of various lifestyles. It is most important that people engaging in sexual activity protect themselves and their partners from transmitting or receiving the diseases by using appropriate protection methods. The third route of transmission is from a mother to her baby. The baby can get AIDS while in the womb, during delivery, or even later through the mother's breast milk.
What causes warts?
Warts are a growth of the skin or mucous membrane. They are caused by a viral infection in the epidermis. The virus is contagious and may spread and produce other warts. When a wart appears on the hands or fingers of an adult, it may localize in a site of irritation. In some people, warts may disappear on their own, while in others they may continue to grow and multiply.
Tell me about some of the bacterial diseases.
Bacteria are typically one-celled microorganisms which contain no chlorophyll, multiply by simple division, and can only be seen through a microscope. Some bacteria can cause disease.
What is meningitis?
Meningitis is caused by a bacteria called meningococci. Meningitis is a swelling and soreness in the layers of tissue that cover the brain and spinal cord. These membranes are called meninges. When the bacteria enter the blood, it causes fever, chills, and a red rash. When the germs settle in the meninges, they cause inflammation. This causes pressure in the head. Then the neck becomes stiff because it hurts to move it. The patient becomes confused and can have convulsions, twitchings, and jerkings of the body. To fight this disease, doctors use a drug called sulfa, which they combine with antibiotics. Without treatment, you could die.
What is rheumatic fever?
Rheumatic fever is a disease of the heart which usually affects only young people. It is an infection caused by bacteria. If a person is allergic to these bacteria, he can get the disease. Nearly all cases of rheumatic fever seem to come as a result of an infection by this bacterium, which is called streptococcus. That means it can happen after a strep throat, tonsillitis, nose infection, or scarlet fever. The symptoms are so slight that people often ignore them. The pains associated with rheumatic fever occur in the joints, especially the knee and elbow. There can be high fever and lumps under the skin. Prompt medical treatment of all illnesses can prevent things from getting worse, like rheumatic fever.
Why do we get pimples?
Pimples are a part of acne along with whiteheads and cysts. It begins in teenagers when sex hormones stimulate the oil glands to grow and make more oil. To some degree, it affects almost everyone, but can be much more severe in some people than others. Bacteria in the glands act on the oil and produce irritating substances that produce inflammation. We see this appearing as redness, swelling, and pus. Acne is not caused by diet. Proper washing to remove the surface oil helps a little, but doesn't affect the process in the glands much. Treatment of acne usually requires medications to kill bacteria and unplug the oil glands. Sometimes acne is part of an allergic reaction, and it is often caused by improper work by the glands. A person with acne should consult a doctor for treatment because there are a lot of medicines that can help. Never squeeze a pimple, because even if you open it up, bacteria can get inside your skin and cause an infection.
What causes stomach ulcers?
The gastric juice manufactured in the stomach contains hydrochloric acid, mucus, and an enzyme called pepsin. Pepsin breaks down protein in the food into simpler substances for the body to use. Sometimes the mixture of pepsin and acid acts on the wall of the digestive tract and forms a sore. This is called a peptic ulcer. People who develop these ulcers usually have a higher concentration of hydrochloric acid than is normal. If you have an ulcer, you will know it because it hurts. The pain usually occurs in the stomach about an hour after eating. Doctors can treat ulcers with medicine and by changing the diet. They can also teach you to relax. This is important because tension can cause the stomach to make much more hydrochloric acid, and this can make ulcers appear.
What is dandruff?
Dandruff is a disease of the scalp which produces small flakes on the scalp and in the hair. The scientific name for this is seborrheic dermatitis. Doctors don't know what causes dandruff, but they think it is a response by the skin to various components of the oil, bacteria, and yeast, which are always present. With mild cases of dandruff, washing the hair at least once or twice a week and thorough massages will help remove the excess oil and flakes. Medicated shampoos are especially designed to help remove flakes, oil, and yeast, and to suppress inflammation. If shampooing alone is not enough, there are medications that can be prescribed by a doctor. Seborrheic dermatitis also involves the ears and face frequently, and these areas can also be treated. It is best not to scratch.
What is athlete's foot?
Athlete's foot is a fungus infection of the foot. The The name of the disease comes from the fact that it is often spread among athletes who share a common shower or bathroom. The fungi grow in the keratin or horny layer. If a person is not sensitive to the fungi, he may not be bothered by the infection at all. There are two types of athlete's foot. In the more common form, a crack appears in the skin, usually at the base of the little toe or between the little toe and the one next to it. There is also some loose, dead skin clinging between the toes. When this loose skin is removed, the skin is red and shiny. The second type of athlete's foot looks like dry skin on the soles of the feet with scaling and some redness. Some people are very susceptible to the fungus and carry it all the time, but others never get it or get it only occasionally. Itching and a flare-up of infection usually happens when the skin gets warm or hot and remains moist or damp for long periods of time. To prevent athlete's foot, keep your feet clean. Make sure you wear dry socks and proper shoes. If you are playing for a long time and your feet get all sweaty, make sure you come in and let them dry well and change your socks. Medications are also available to kill the fungus.
What is a stroke?
A stroke is a form of injury to the brain. Another name for it is apoplexy. When a stroke occurs, the flow of blood to a part of the brain is suddenly cut off. As a result, all the structures connected with that part of the brain are injured. Many things can cause this to happen. A blood vessel may rupture and cause a hemorrhage or large blood flow. A clot may form within a blood vessel. This is called thrombosis. There may be a spasm of an artery. A blood vessel may become closed off because a small particle is floating in the bloodstream. This is called an embolus. The most frequent cause of a stroke is thrombosis. After it happens, a person may wake up to discover that an arm, a leg, or even a whole side of the body is useless. People who have suffered this kind of stroke can generally be treated, and with time may learn to use the muscles again.
What is epilepsy?
Epilepsy is a disorder of the nervous system. People with epilepsy have sudden spells called convulsions, after which they can become unconscious or fall into a coma. Epilepsy may be caused by a head injury, a high fever, tumors, scars in the brain tissue, or disturbances in the blood supply. Scientists have discovered drugs to prevent attacks of epilepsy, and they can give anyone with this disease long periods of healthy life. Not everyone gets epilepsy. There has to be a chemical change in the body to make it happen. Doctors believe some of it may be hereditary. Also, it can occur secondary to an injury with formation of a scar or damaged brain tissue.
What is cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy is a condition in which the patient has little or no control over the movement of his muscles. It happens when one of the three main areas of the brain that control muscular activity is damaged. One such area is called the motor cortex. This is where all movements that are planned and controllable start. When it is damaged, there is a stiffness to the muscles. A group of nerve cells in the brain, called the basal ganglia, hold back certain types of muscle activity. When it is damaged, unplanned movements of the muscles occur. It might be slow, squirming and twisting movements of the arms, or a slight shaking or violent jerking. The third area of the brain, called the cerebellar area, controls muscle coordination and balance. There are many causes of cerebral palsy. The brain may not develop as it should before birth. The mother may be sick or injured during pregnancy. The brain may be injured during birth. Difficulty in breathing at the time of birth may prevent oxygen from getting into the blood and may injure nerve cells. Treatment is long and slow and is a continuous process. It won't repair the damage that has already taken place, but it makes a person adjust to themselves and the world so they can live happier.
What is cancer?
A cancer is an uncontrolled growth in the body which doesn't follow normal growth patterns. The cells forming the cancer may spread through the body to parts which may be far removed from the spot where the cancer began. When cancer cells divide and increase in number, they don't change into fully grown forms and then stop reproducing. Instead, they remain young cells and continue to increase in number until they are harmful. Unless the growth and spread of the cancer is stopped, the patient will die. That's why it is important to have regular checkups by your doctor. Cancers are not spread between people by any kind of contact. No one knows just why it starts in a person's body. One of medicine's greatest goals is to fully understand the nature and cause of cancer and find a way to prevent and cure it.
What is a heart attack?
A heart attack is something that interferes with the function of the heart. A coronary thrombosis occurs when one of the two blood vessels that supply the heart with blood get clogged. When this happens, the blood supply is shut off. The tissue in this part of the heart begins to degenerate and die. When one coronary artery becomes clogged, the smaller branches of the other artery take up the work. Then most areas of the heart that have been cut off receive the blood they need. In many patients, a heart attack occurs after some unusual physical exertion, emotional upset, exposure to cold, or anything that makes the heart work harder than normal. The symptoms of a heart attack include pain in the chest, the arms, neck, and left shoulder. It is important to get fast medical help to someone who has had a heart attack. Fortunately, after heart attacks, doctors can treat patients in many ways, including surgery, so the heart attack patients can lead normal lives. It is important to make regular visits to your doctor. A physical examination can help doctors detect some of the problems that lead to heart attacks.
What is an earache?
Aside from mechanical injuries, or actually hurting your ear, an earache comes from some type of infection. It can be caused by hardened wax in the ear, which should be removed by a doctor. There can be an infection of the outer ear because of a tiny scratch. This scratch will cause a boil to form, the ear to swell up, and there will be painful earaches. A fungus infection of the outer ear and canal can produce a swelling of the canal, which causes pain. Sometimes shooting pains are felt in the ear after a cold. The eardrum, which divides the outer ear from the middle ear, may become inflamed. The middle ear can become infected if someone blows his nose incorrectly. There are many causes of an earache. Most often, see your doctor when you get one.
Why do some people get allergies and not others?
To have an allergy means to be affected by or be sensitive to one or more common things around us. That might be plants, animals, dust, molds, or food. Anything that causes an allergy is called an allergen. No one knows why, only some people are affected by allergies. But doctors are beginning to think that heredity plays a major role. When a person has an allergy, the substance responsible enters the body and causes special cells in the tissues to make a chemical called an antibody. Antibodies are our main defenses against infection. But when an allergic substance combines with its antibody, it causes certain cells in the body to release chemicals, such as histamines. It is the chemical acting on the blood vessels and lungs that causes the allergic symptoms. These symptoms can be a stuffy nose, skin rashes, sneezing, watery eyes, headaches, wheezing, and shortness of breath.
What is hay fever?
Hay fever is a form of allergy. It belongs to a group of problems including hives, asthma, and certain skin problems that are caused by something called protein sensitization. Protein is found in foods, but pollens of plants are also proteins. At a certain time of year, many plants, such as ragweed, send their pollen into the air. When a person is sensitive to these proteins, they act upon certain muscles and tissues and cause allergic reactions.
What is asthma?
Asthma is a symptom of another condition. When a person has asthma, he finds it hard to breathe because there is an obstruction to the flow of air into and out of the lungs. This barrier or obstruction may be caused by a swelling of the mucous membranes or a constriction or tightening of the tubes leading from the windpipe to the lungs. When a person has an attack of asthma, he develops shortness of breath, wheezing, and coughing. The attack may come on gradually or develop suddenly. Sometimes you can get rid of asthma by finding the cause and eliminating it. There are dusts and pollens that cause asthma. Children can develop it from food allergies to things like eggs and milk. Smoke is one of the worst triggers of an asthma attack. A person suffering from asthma should stay away from smoke-filled rooms or people who smoke and should never smoke themselves. A doctor can diagnose and treat asthma. Most of the treatment is finding out what is causing the attacks. Also, there are many medicines that can be used to keep them from happening.
Tell Me Why, a video encyclopedia series designed to answer the questions that kids ask most. It's a unique tool, a well-thought-out educational project created to take advantage of every child's fascination with video. Tell Me Why turns that fascination into an invaluable learning experience, providing kids with the answers they want and need through a series of 26 information-packed volumes. Tell Me Why. It's the perfect way to turn the family television set into a second classroom. And it's so much fun. It's like taking a field trip without leaving home. Tell Me Why is an innovation in education, with exciting film footage from organizations such as NASA, the National Aquarium, and the National Hurricane Center, as well as an easy style and colorful graphics. Children will want to watch each volume again and again. Quick search numbers have been provided in the lower right-hand corner so that you can fast forward to the section you want to view. This video encyclopedia is modeled after the nationally syndicated newspaper column and the critically acclaimed book series of the same name created by Arkady Leokum. Inspired by questions asked by his own children, Leokum has captivated a generation of children with explanations on a myriad of topics.